Chapter 1801. Emperor Shirtian did not expect that they would encounter the most difficult opponent just after arriving here. After the battle over there started, the situation encountered by the Barada aliens was more dangerous than Zhang Yi and his men. Because in terms of group combat power, they were not as good as the aliens under Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi and Gui had a long battle, and he had to be on guard against Gui using the ability to blast open his dimensional door again. But after using that ability, Zhang Yi clearly felt that Gui's power was weakened. Although not much, it can be clearly felt in the battle between aliens with similar strength. Those red energy crystals are also the source of his own power. Interesting, I seem to understand something. The energy supply method of mechanical life forms is relatively simple, and the combat effectiveness will naturally weaken as the energy is consumed. Zhang Yi is not in a hurry at all. Anyway, there are reinforcements in the distance to help him hold back other mechanical legions, so he can have a good game with Gui here. The blade in Gui's hand kept dancing, and the speed of the knife was so fast that countless afterimages were produced. One after another, red snake-shaped energy bodies continued to invade the direction where Zhang Yi was, but they were completely ineffective. Zhang Yi would dodge this space turbulence that could shake open the dimensional door in advance after he was prepared. He no longer fought head-on with Gui, because he could dodge all of Gui's attacks, but he had a move that Gui could never dodge. That was the Divine Domain Purification of the Lock. Gui's defense was very strong, but he could block Zhang Yi's killer move once, twice, 3 times, but he couldn't block it all the time. The shield-breaking spear played a very critical role in this process. Once the defensive force field was broken, his only remaining means of defense was the mechanical body itself. On the other battlefield, Liu Karen's Snow Owl played a huge role. With the help of Liang Yu and others, he had dismantled 3 super-large mechanical life forms. The war was already developing in a direction that was absolutely beneficial to Zhang Yi. It's not that Gui's ability is not strong enough. He is the most powerful combat system. Whether it is attack or defense, it has reached the higher level of the bishop level. He even has a powerful killing move like Overload. If he faces an ordinary bishop-level alien, he will definitely pose a huge threat to the opponent. But the person he met was Zhang Yi, a person who had full defense and could not kill at all. No matter how fast his knife is, no matter how powerful his energy cannon is, it is meaningless if he can't hit the opponent. After more than a dozen rounds of fighting, Zhang Yi has basically figured out his tricks. The ability possessed by the opponent is not a superpower. He is just a combat robot that is ahead of its time. After figuring this out, Zhang Yi couldn't stop smiling. As long as they are not people with special attributes, pure combat aliens or robots are naturally restrained by him. Zhang Yi inserted the divine chain in his right hand into the ground. In a flash, a huge silver world tree was born in the air, and countless silver vines lingered in the air, and then covered the sky and the earth and entangled towards Gui. Seeing this scene, Gui swung the scimitar in his hand. The terrifying red wave swept over, like a tsunami stretching for dozens of kilometers, tearing the vines apart in an instant. His attack power should not be underestimated. The toughness of the divine vines is very high, but it can't stop his sword. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry and continued to change the bullets. The shield-breaking spear attacked Gui, and the nuclear bullets were already full in the gun in the other hand. This was a difficult battle. Gui tried many ways, but couldn't break Zhang Yi's Senluo Wanxiang. At this time, he finally realized that the opponent had not only the ability of space attributes, but also the ability of time. Otherwise, why could the opponent make an accurate prediction before he made a move, and then decide whether to counterattack or escape? If not, his ultimate move would definitely cause heavy damage to Zhang Yi. The special abilities of the target are time and space. The probability of defeating the opponent with my combat power is 1.23%, and the probability of killing the opponent is 0.0032%. Gui's core processor ran rapidly and finally got such a sad result. As a guard-type mechanical life form, he did not have the strongest combat power. The mechanical life forms he called, which were also guard-type life forms, were being held back by other humans. Gui's core was almost overheating, and the system could not provide him with the best choice at this time, because no matter what he did, it was difficult to win at this time, and the protection engineering troops continued to work on this land. Escape? That was not an option for him, because that directly meant the failure of the mission and the end of the project. In human culture, there is a word to describe this situation called desperate situation. Zhang Yi's attack did not pause for a moment, and the next moment, 2 shield-breaking spears were shot at Gui. After the anti-defense force field broke Gui's defense field and caused a loophole, it immediately attacked the divine domain, without dead angles. Under the continuous attacks, even the hard body, made of special materials, finally showed cracks. Crack. Its dark metal torso made a sound of being twisted, and the continuous superforce squeezing finally made it deform. Gui realized that something was wrong, and he finally launched a second attack of burning energy crystals. The red energy wave was centered on his blade, surging wildly in all directions. Sweeping the earth, everything in sight was destroyed. This time, Zhang Yi did not choose to escape into the void, because Gui's attack direction was no longer him, but the battlefield dozens of kilometers away. If Zhang Yi evaded this time, the mechanical army and Fueying troops on the battlefield would all suffer indiscriminate attacks. Gui was sure that Zhang Yi would definitely rescue his companions, so he used such a method. Good method. Zhang Yi's left eye's second hand turned back for 3 seconds, predicting the opponent's actions in advance, so that he already had a plan in his mind. So when Gui was about to burn the energy crystal and launch a powerful attack, he took the lead in launching a continuous attack on him. The barrage shot at Gui with 10 times the density of the previous one. The shield-breaking spear mixed in it forced Gui to choose to use the blade in his hand to resist these bullets. The barrage poured out like a flood. In just a few minutes of fighting, Zhang Yi had fired hundreds of thousands of bullets, a completely cost-free style of play. The advantage of this is that he can preserve his own state to the maximum extent. Influenced by Zhang Yi, Gui's attack rhythm also became chaotic. Zhang Yi has made up his mind and will never give Gui the opportunity to launch that kind of attack again. So when the cooldown of the Divine Realm Purification was over, he changed his attack method. Divine Realm Purification is a powerful killing move that Zhang Yi realized after mastering the power of space to a certain extent. With an area as the center, a huge space collapse is formed within the entire spherical range. And this move was created by him after his power reached the Black Chariot level and his deeper understanding of the power of space. Now, Zhang Yi, who is already at the bishop level, has a more precise control of the power of space. Therefore, his attack is also more precise. Shi Miao made a prediction based on Gui's actions and determined his position. Then, the power of the void in his right eye was twisting, and between the disorder of light and shadow, the target area in his sight also began to twist strongly. The knife in Gui's hand was swinging rapidly, so fast that it was difficult to distinguish with the naked eye, but Zhang Yi accurately captured its movement. A powerful force was generated at his wrist, and the power of God's domain purification was concentrated at the point of Gui's wrist, and then suddenly exerted force. The entire spherical space collapsed in an instant, and the power of the bishop-level space node at his wrist instantly exploded. Crack. The sound of mechanical distortion came, and Gui's wrist was twisted like a twist, and the whole rotated more than 200 degrees. The strange scimitar in his hand also fell off his palm and fell to the ground. The changes that happened in an instant made Gui very surprised. His arm made a mechanical click and click sound, and the twisted palm joints were also repaired quickly. But the short moment was enough for Zhang Yi to do a lot of time. For the first time, he used space to shuttle and came near Gui. Swamp of time. Start. Gui felt as if his body was trapped in a swamp, and his movements were greatly slowed down. He stretched out his left hand to grab the blade, but it was too slow to catch up, and he could only watch it disappear in midair and sink into a world of nothingness. Gui's blade was successfully captured by Zhang Yi. This weapon is also one of Gui's sources of power, and losing it has a great impact on Gui. But Zhang Yi did not relax his vigilance, because there must be other red energy crystals hidden on his body. Then it is possible to continue to burst out with skills that exceed normal combat power at any time. Zhang Yi raised the divine refining in his hand, aimed at Gui's body, and fired a star cannon straight at him. The power burst at a close range. The speed was so fast that even Gui could not resist. His weapon was lost, and he could only rely on the huge scorpion tail behind him to resist Zhang Yi's attack. The scorpion tail extended to dozens of meters long, surrounding Gui's body, and at the same time the defense force field was opened in front of him. Boom! The pitch-black star cannon shot directly at the defense force field, but this time, under the fierce impact, the defense force field actually began to crack. Crack. The defensive force field shattered, and the remaining force hit the defensive layer formed by the scorpion tail, knocking Gui out fiercely. Zhang Yi verified his conjecture. Sure enough, after losing that weapon, his strength has been greatly reduced. Luke Heron has already found the answer to the defensive force field through research on super-large mechanical life forms. In essence, it is a shield formed by energy, which is the same principle as the alien's supernatural shield. It's just that its structure is more scientific, and it can maximize the defensive power with the least force. This is the principle of the shield-breaking spear breaking it, affecting the structure of its force field, making it no longer stable, and thus appearing flaws. After the power to maintain the defensive force field is reduced, it is no longer so indestructible. Zhang Yi held 2 guns and chased Gui and killed him. Taking advantage of the lack of power at this time, he didn't give it a single chance. The battles on the 3 battlefields were in full swing at this time, and Zhang Yi was completely suppressing Gui at this time. Although its power was reduced, its toughness was still sufficient. Even though its body was damaged, it did not affect its fighting will at all. After all, as long as the core of a mechanical life form is not destroyed, it cannot be killed. Zhang Yi had enough patience to fight with it. He was not in a hurry to destroy it, but used the method of eating an eagle to consume its fighting power bit by bit. Gui's power was greatly weakened, and it could no longer cause an effective attack on Zhang Yi. As for Zhang Yi's target, the focus was on his scorpion tail, because it was inlaid with more than a dozen red energy crystals. The same method was used, and it really made Gui unable to resist. After repeating the attack dozens of times, his scorpion tail was also cut off by Zhang Yi. At this time, Gui was no longer a threat to Zhang Yi. All his means of attack could not even break through Zhang Yi's Sinluo Wanxiang. But even at this point, he was still fighting, trying to use all means to defeat Zhang Yi. It's a pity that he is not a human. Otherwise, Zhang Yi would definitely persuade him to surrender, but the android probably has no concept of surrender and will only execute orders according to the established procedures. There is no other way. I have to destroy you first. Zhang Yi did not hold back, and his attack became even more fierce. Gui, who lost his weapon, was soon beaten to pieces. In the end, all his limbs were broken, and even most of his torso was destroyed, and he was completely motionless. Just when Zhang Yi was about to recycle his body, the second hand of time gave a dangerous omen. His remaining half-body actually started the self-destruction program. Zhang Yi knew that there must be a strong energy in its energy core to maintain it. But seeing that he was about to successfully capture a demon god, how could Zhang Yi allow failure? 3 seconds was enough for him to do many things, such as throwing the half-body that had no resistance directly into the different dimension. After entering here, the flow of time was greatly slowed down, and all actions were like slow motion in a movie. Even if Gui wanted to self-destruct, it would be difficult to achieve. Zhang Yi quickly dismantled his body in the alien space and found the energy core located at the position of his head. This is a red sphere, completely different from the super-large mechanical life form or mass-produced machine. It exudes a strange light, and it can be felt that there is something special about it. Zhang Yi thought about it and decided to put it in the alien space first and study it carefully after returning. Dear viewers, this video ends here. Please like and comment. Thanks.